Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Thank you everyone that submitted questions for this week's Doctor Who Q&A. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to see the special by now, and happy holidays to everyone, whether or not you celebrate Christmas. Just as a quick update, there was some news announced right after the special aired. Jenna Coleman has signed on, supposedly for all of Series 9. As far as we know, it's going to be for all of Series 9. For those that haven't seen the Christmas special, there was just a spot at the end where they did the Lord of the Rings Return of the King type thing where they had a couple different endings, or moments that felt like they could have been endings until the story continued. I'll get into that a little bit more during the questions, but Moffat has said that there are 3 stories so far that he's finished for Series 9. The first one being The Magician's Apprentice. I've heard that they will be shooting at the end of January, or by the end of January, so if you're near Cardiff, just go camp the set and post pictures so we can find out what's going on. Your assistance is greatly appreciated by all of Doctor Who fandom all over the world. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to add. A lot of you pointed this out in the comments. The song, Merry Christmas Everybody, the one that Shona was jamming out to, that was actually the same song Mickey was listening to in his garage during the Christmas invasion, during David Tennant's first episode. It's been a long time since I've actually seen that episode, so thank you guys for pointing that out. So let's answer some questions. Careful for spoilers from the episode if you haven't seen it yet, but starting with question number 1, Gion X Machina asks, in the Christmas Carol episode, the Doctor explains that he and Santa know each other. I don't know if I paid attention, but is this episode implying that Santa isn't real, that he's a figment of the imagination to help them escape the dreams? I think that they were playing on that. Yes, the Doctor has referenced Santa in the past, like he's said to others that he has met Santa. A lot of people complain that Moffat breaks continuity from Classic Who, so it depends on how you feel about Moffat's logic. In this episode, if you're just going based on this episode, they're suggesting that he's a real person. That's what the tangerine at the end was meant to imply, or at least to cast doubt that he was completely fictitious. Because if the Doctor and Clara hadn't left that tangerine there, who did? He actually compared himself to Gmail. I thought that was really funny, or email in general. He's like, have you ever wondered how email gets in your inbox? Same thing. The funny thing about Nick Frost during the episode, though, is that he contradicts himself, like he tries to prove that he is not Santa, and then later he tries to prove that he's Santa. So he actually tries to do it both ways. It's really funny. I don't think it's a logic problem or something in the writing. I think it's Santa just messing with Clara. Question number 2, Matt Dusko asks, was this written to possibly be Jenna's last episode? Seemed entirely possible that the older version of her could have been the last time we see her. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that scene where the Doctor looks at her and she's old, then the camera pans away and he says, you'll always look the same to me. It pans back and it's young Clara again. In the original version, if she had left, I think that they would have had their final parting of ways. And she would have been like, look at all these adventures I went on. I had a happy life. I'm very happy with the way things went down. In this version, though, the Doctor is like, oh, this is another dream, then wakes up again, comes back to real Clara, and then they go on their adventures again for Series 9. So it was just a Lord of the Rings thing where they have like all these different logical endpoints, and you're like, okay, clearly they originally meant to end here, but ended up just going a little step further because Jenna Coleman decided to stay. Question number 3, Tobias Kun asks, I have a question. Shouldn't Clara be pregnant? That's a good question. I mean, we met her and Danny's grandson in Listen, and by the way, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Well, thank you. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you too. So, Moffat explained that Orson Pink was a distant relative of Danny Pink, wasn't a direct grandson, was like a sister or brothers. You could look at it a couple of different ways. You could say, yes, this is just another relative that just happens to look exactly like Danny Pink, but isn't directly related to him, is just like a cousin, a distant cousin. Or you could say, maybe at one point when Moffat was writing this story, or when they were working on this story, I don't know that Moffat wrote that episode particularly, they wanted to suggest that Clara and Danny might have a child. When I was watching the episode, that's actually what I thought about. I thought they were just teasing Clara with the idea that she would get married to Danny Pink and they would have children. If they had known ahead of time that Clara was going to stay on for Series 9, I do wonder if Danny Pink would have stayed on for Series 9 too, if they would have not killed him off. That's actually a really good question. I do feel like they would have kept him on. It would have been a Rory situation, but since they'd done that so recently, they might have been trying to do something different, so it's possible that they were going to kill him off no matter what. Question number 4, Vansa Basili asks, do you think that River will be back for Series 9, at least 1 or 2 episodes? Moffat also said that he was totally open to bringing River's song back, which I thought was interesting because I think before he had said that he wasn't going to do that. Everybody's always flip-flopping behind the scenes on Doctor Who. Yes, we want to do this. No, we don't want to do that. I think most recently, in the most recent interview I read, he said he did have an idea for how to bring her back, but he said he really did like her ending in the Series 7 finale. I think logically what he was pointing to is that River said that she had met older versions of the Doctor. I think that Capaldi could be one of those older versions. Given his stance on romance, I guess it would be a new spin on their relationship. But because they age in different directions, it'd be a much younger version of River that we'd be meeting. Question number 5, the Whovian Network asks, do you think that Santa's sleigh is a TARDIS when Santa says it's bigger on the inside? Do you think that Santa's a Time Lord and we'll see him again in Series 9? So, I don't think that we're going to see Nick Frost as Santa again. I think there'll be jokes about Santa. He'll definitely reference him. The Santa that we were seeing inside the episode was the Dream Santa, so they just created those things. I think because Capaldi was in there, because the Doctor was in the dream, he had qualities of a Time Lord. Question number 6, Hydra DeLittle asks, why is nobody bothered by the fact that there are dream crabs still on Earth? Is that supposed to be okay? Nobody gonna take care of those? That's a good question. I think that at a certain point, the Doctor probably took care of those after the fact. It is a bit of a plot hole, it's not addressed. I mean, that happens every once in a while. I think we're just meant to think that eventually the problem took care of itself, which isn't an answer. I know that's not a real answer. Realistically though, whenever you ask questions of writers or people like Moffat, when you ask them questions like this, they usually imply TV rules, where they ask the fandom to give them certain liberties in storytelling. If it had been a book, like if this had been a book we were reading, they could have just written an extra 10 pages to explain it, but because it's TV, they have limited time with what they can show. They just decided not to address it. Maybe that's what Clara and his adventure was right after they took off. Okay, well we saved ourselves, now we gotta go save everyone else. They had to go visit the other people in the sleigh to make sure that they weren't also in a dream inside a dream inside a dream still. I like the idea that though, Shona is still in a dream watching her Game of Thrones marathon. Question number 7, Matthew Mullen asks, do you think the page numbers Clara chose meant anything? And personal question, did you get any Doctor Who goodies for Christmas? So to answer your first question, I think the page number, it was really just number 12 because Capaldi being the 12th Doctor. If you remember in Series 7 episode 1-2, the child, like one of her wards that she was taking care of had the book. She said chapter 11 was the best because it was the Matt Smith Doctor in that episode. And to answer your second question, I didn't really get any Doctor Who goodies, but I did get a new microphone. Let's see if I can show you guys. It's like right here. Yay. So I'm really happy about that. That's my only Doctor Who goodie. I put like a little blue ball on top of it. Question number 8, Gringolet asks, does the Doctor have a catchword or catchphrase like Alonzi or Geronimo? Seems to me he says shut up and do as you're told a lot. Yeah, I mean, if he had a catchphrase, it would definitely be shut up or shut-itty up. Whenever Capaldi leaves, that's definitely what people are going to remember, unless something else even crazier comes along. Officially, I don't think he has a catchphrase. I think that they're not doing catchphrases, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have one. It just means that there's not one that the BBC is promoting. Question number 9, Charlie Blackett asks, when everyone woke up after being on Santa's sleigh, it turned out to still be a dream with Clara being old. Does that mean that the other 4 characters are also still dreaming and therefore dead or possibly never existed at all? That's actually an interesting thought. The fact that they never existed. I don't think it was just the Doctor and Clara, but as cold as the Doctor was, I do think that he tried to make sure that the dream crabs were taken care of, that the problem was taken care of. You can look at that as another plot hole. It's like the Robin Hood thing, does the Doctor care after the fact whether or not Robin Hood is really real, or does he just fly away in his TARDIS? Question number 10, Gabriel Buse asks, what do you think is going to be the main story arc of Series 9? I'm hoping that the Doctor goes looking for Gallifrey. I don't know if they're necessarily going to do that. I think that the final moment, like in the finale, when he looked for it and didn't find it, it was like Moffat saying, we're not going to be going here anytime soon. Before Series 8 had started, I was really hoping they were going to follow up on the long way around line that Matt Smith had. I do think that Gallifrey, the idea of Gallifrey and the Time Lords, will be involved in Series 9. It might just not necessarily be the main plot. But if the Master, or the Mistress, or however you want to think about her, is coming back, and she knows where Gallifrey is, and I do think that she does know, even though she lied about where it was, they will have to follow up on that at some point. Which is actually a good question, because do you think that the Mistress or the Master coming back was the overarching plot of Series 8? It seemed like they wanted it to be, but because of the disjointed way in which they told her story over those 8 episodes, or really, she was only in about half of those episodes, it felt like she just kind of came in at the end. And the real overarching story, like the biggest story, was just learning who this new Doctor was and what his relationships with everyone was going to be. So many things that you could argue with your friends about, what was Series 8 really about? Was it about the Mistress, or was it about the new Doctor, or something else completely? So thank you everyone for submitting questions. These are always a ton of fun to do. And just a quick heads up, I doubled the giveaway just because it's the holidays and I wanted to be nice. So congratulations to Josh Hoskins and Sylvia Major. Just be sure to message me on my channel for contact details so I can get your contact info. My next Doctor Who bonus video should post in the next couple of days. I'm going to try and mix it up a little bit. Agent Carter's coming, so I might do some Marvel videos and some other stuff. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. People in the UK, I've heard that Channel 4 is not going to air Agent Carter. It premieres in the United States on January 6th, on Tuesday. So I'll try to find some information about where international people can watch the show. But if you do have any information about that, just post it in the comments below. Right now, if you're on your mobile phone or on your tablet, there's new mobile links you can click on up here. It's the same as the links over here. Click here for my Christmas special video, and click here for all my other Doctor Who bonus videos. Thank you so much for watching, so let's all high five. Happy holidays. I will see you guys tonight.